Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts, and this is a special episode. I'm doing it a little early because this week I'm not going to be around, basically not going to be in town, basically it's because I got something to do up in northern part of Wisconsin, and basically it's basically something to do with the family. So basically it will probably, but the answer questions episode will actually happen on time on the actual Saturday that will actually come up. So basically, this special episode would actually just be a little bit earlier than usual. But even though, hey, what can you do? And basically, this is the way I wanted to do it, and so that way I didn't have to miss any information about these creatures that I'll be talking about. And basically these are actually going to be water dwelling animals that we're actually going to be talking about. One is actually basically amphibious. It's an amphibious reptile, and basically the other one is basically just a marine reptile. But the first one we're going to talk about is a very well known crocodilian like creature, and that is Sarcosuchus. And Sarcosuchus in Greek or Latin means flesh crocodile, and considering that sucus is actually Latin for crocodile, and so and basically it's over 40 feet long, probably would have weighed between 8 to 10 tons, and it lived around 100 million years ago. But even though there's probably some that probably have lived a little bit further than that, so probably they could have actually lived possibly all the way as to 95 million years. And so let's get down to the characteristics of Sarcosuchus. Sarcosuchus basically was found by Dr. Paul Sereno from the University of Chicago, and he actually found this crocodile in the Sahara Desert. And so basically this is actually a crocodile found in Africa. Basically the countries that Sarcosuchus is actually kind of found are basically like Nigeria, and maybe Morocco. And so basically there's probably still some more Sarcosuchus that have to be found yet to possibly where the ranges are, and basically where actually could have been possibly have lived. But basically Sarcosuchus actually lived in large freshwater lakes and possibly rivers. And so this animal would actually have been around the time when Carcharodontosaurus and Spinosaurus were actually roaming the northern part of Africa. And so it probably did share territory with Spinosaurus, but with the fact that Spinosaurus could not tackle a Sarcosuchus. So basically Sarcosuchus would be too large for Spinosaurus to even compete for food. And so basically Spinosaurus probably actually focused more on the fish, and basically Sarcosuchus would actually be able to actually tackle larger prey. So it probably did actually go after fish from time to time. But even though the way the teeth are is basically this, basically almost every crocodilian actually has conical shaped teeth, and basically these are actually teeth that are designed to grab and hang on. And so basically with Sarcosuchus, these teeth are large, and so the premaxillary teeth are actually very, very large, and so these teeth are actually designed to grab and hang on to large prey items. And what this probably means is that it probably took down dinosaurs. And so probably the better sorts of prey that Sarcosuchus would able to take down would actually be the Ouranosaurus, probably juvenile sauropods, and also could probably take down mid-sized Carcharodontosaurus, and maybe it could actually tackle Rugops and maybe some of the juvenile species of Spinosaurus. So basically this animal is actually very powerful enough to actually take down dinosaurs. Like basically every crocodilian, basically it actually has armored scutes, basically bony bony plates in the skin. So basically, you see that in every crocodilian. Every crocodilian actually has these osteoderms, is what they're called, those bony scutes in the skin. And so basically, they're very heavily armored. They have very thick scales, and so these animals would actually be very, very hard to take down. And also, Sarcosuchus actually has a little bit of a interesting feature on the snout, and it's basically right on the tip of the nose, and it's basically called a bulla. And this bulla is probably designed either for basically to enhance the sense of smell, or otherwise it might have actually have been a sexual display. Maybe males with a larger bulla probably were more attractive to the females. And so, but even though I think like most crocodilians, the males would actually be the larger members of the families there. So basically, males would actually be the largest and longest, where females would actually have been a little bit smaller, but even they'll still pack a punch in terms of basically hunting, but even though defending its young. And so probably so pretty much the males were probably the most aggressive. If you think of one of the most aggressive crocodilians of today, you think of the saltwater crocodile. The saltwater crocodile, males would actually be very, very aggressive, but females can be very aggressive as well. But even though the males actually are pretty much really highly aggressive, so basically you don't want to get too close to them. And so basically, like all sorts of crocodilians that you rely on ambush, and basically they lie in wait, and basically if there's a prey item that actually comes towards the water to get the water source to get a drink, and basically the Sarcosuchus would actually just sit in the bottom, wait for the right time to strike, and basically they use that muscular tail to launch itself out of the water to grab the prey and drag it toward the water and basically drown it. It would not actually be Sarcosuchus would not have the bite force necessary to actually like make a big wallop to crush bones. As you see, if you have an elongated snout, basically, because Sarcosuchus has a very thin snout, and then basically comes up to it like a kind of like a light bulb, basically, part like on the nose, or on the nose and the under the jaws, is basically shows that it probably did not have a very strong bite force, but the bite force would be very strong in the back of the jaws, not in the front. So basically it's designed to actually grab the prey, pull it down using body strength, not bite force. So basically it would actually just be pulling the prey in, drowning it, and then it would actually have its meal. And so probably like all crocodilians, it probably did death rolls and to actually rip the prey to shreds. Basically, it does not have the teeth necessary to slice the prey. So basically, it would actually just be using like death rolls to like rip off the head, the limbs, and maybe the tail of dinosaurs. And basically, the abdomen would basically just a frenzy for like all sorts of crocodilians that are living around there. But of course, the extinction of Sarcosuchus is basically that it could not adapt to the new changes in environment, which basically the seas were actually rising. So basically, Sarcosuchus could not adapt to the changes of basically the sea rising. To actually adapt to that marine environment, and basically there would have been a whole new cast of predators to actually face. And basically you got plesiosaurs, and also you got the newly adapted mosasaurs. The mosasaurs would actually be the biggest competition for Sarcosuchus, and basically Sarcosuchus could not contend with a mosasaur, and also it would have been well exposed in the oceans, and basically could not actually do very well in those types of conditions. And then then the next animal we're actually going to be talking about is a plesiosaur called Cryptoclidus. And of course, in Cryptoclidus, basically a plesiosaur. Its name means hidden collarbone. So basically, this is kind of a strange name for a plesiosaur, but even though it's pretty cool. Fossils have been found in Europe, late Jurassic, 165 to 150 million years ago. About 25 feet long, probably would weigh between 6 to 8 tons. And basically, a plesiosaur, like all plesiosaurs, it actually hunted fish and small crustaceans. So basically, it has the characteristics of a plesiosaur: long neck, small head, 4 fins, and basically a very small tail. So basically, it has all the characteristics of a plesiosaur. But you see, with plesiosaurs, they're very slow-moving animals. With the long-necked type of plesiosaurs, they are slow-moving. That's because you see, they are not going to be using speed to actually capture their prey. They're actually going to be sneaking up towards their prey and grab like a couple bits of fish, some crustaceans, you name it. So basically, it would actually be doing that. And basically, Cryptoclidus, like other plesiosaurs, has got needle-like teeth, and so that's basically designed to capture smaller prey in the oceans. And so Cryptoclidus probably did live with like some pretty nasty marine reptiles in its time, but also sharks were actually very common in the Jurassic in its time, like Hibbotus. But the bigger problem is the Pliosaurs. The Pliosaurs would actually be the nemesis of Cryptoclidus, and that would actually be like Liopleurodon, and maybe the Pliosaurus that was nicknamed Predator X. And so these animals would actually be large enough to take down Cryptoclidus. And so, but even though ichthyosaurs were pretty big competition for food for Cryptoclidus, but even though ichthyosaurs were pretty much just very fast moving, and so they probably focused on more on ichthyosaurs probably focused more on squid and some fish, whereas plesiosaurs are basically crustaceans and fish. So basically, that's what Cryptoclidus would actually be doing. Cryptoclidus actually had its moment of fame in the Walking with Dinosaurs series in the episode Cruel Sea. And so that would actually be the one reason why Cryptoclidus could actually be very familiar to a lot of paleontology enthusiasts, is because Cryptoclidus was actually in the Walking with Dinosaurs series. But I'd like to see a remake of Walking with Dinosaurs and see if like they can add more episodes, like focus more on like other countries where dinosaurs are actually found. Like maybe they can still redo like the episodes like say that the locations like in Arizona, Colorado, Oxfordshire, Brazil, Europe, Antarctica, and also Montana. But also I would love to see like Mongolia or China, or otherwise maybe like in Africa, Northern Africa in the early to mid Cretaceous, or otherwise go to like Texas and actually do like an episode basically about Acrocanthosaurus and Sauroposeidon. That would actually be really, really cool. And so and maybe go to South America, where we actually find like Argentinosaurus, Giganotosaurus, all those sorts of stuff. But anyway, with Cryptoclidus, basically with an extinction, it probably couldn't adapt to the new changes in the environment. Basically, the Jurassic actually had the end of the Jurassic. Actually, there was an extinction event that we still don't know about. Was there like a huge dramatic climate change that basically like marine reptiles and dinosaurs, certain types of dinosaurs, certain types of marine reptiles just couldn't adapt, and basically the other types of dinosaurs and marine reptiles survived, and basically they just took on different niches in the environment, and basically they just kind of actually went a different path. See, the Cretaceous is when like dinosaurs and marine reptiles kind of actually started to kind of expand their environmental niches and basically do all those sorts of things, like basically capture the prey that like larger animals couldn't actually take care of, and basically probably adapted a lot better than the larger animals. And so that would actually be pretty interesting of how like the descendants of Cryptoclidus actually kind of came to be. Is like, did maybe Cryptoclidus actually kind of evolve into like an elasmosaurs, you know, like where basically got hugely long necks and small heads, larger body sizes, and all that sorts of stuff. So basically that could actually be pretty cool. Anyway, that's it for now. Now, the Answering Questions episode will happen next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday. So, if you got questions about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions in the comment section on any Facebook post. Remember, keep your questions short and to the point. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at CSGRALL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. And also, take care of the people around you. And also, for younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivation you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education, because with a good education, you get a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next Saturday.